Hey gang, Jim Eakins here. My amazing colleague Cindy Bush did a fantastic job of reimagining the amazing water activity from Project WET. Here it is, check it out.
If you want to follow along with the original activity in Project WET, it's page 231, Amazing Water. For this activity, it is written that it could be adapted for preschool all the way through high school. The way that I've chosen to rewrite the lesson is for upper elementary. I did get a chance to test this out on my own student. He's a fifth grader. And so we'll see, I'll share with you some of the challenges that he had. The best subjects I would say this aligns with is environmental science and health. This rewritten version takes about 15 minutes. The setting is indoors, followed by an outdoor component. We won't get to the outdoor component today in the essence of time. And then we also have the materials listed there in case you haven't gathered those yet. Skills and vocabulary and summary are all written on the slide. So the original lesson for Project WET does ask students to actually go outside, and the teacher, you would have already pre-drawn a maze of pipes out on the playground. And you could do that with sidewalk chalk, for example. So you kind of see the image of the student going through a maze. There's a early learner adaptation as well, and there is a maze, a student copy sheet inside of the guide that asks students to go through that maze and pick up different pollutants as they go out through to a city. So today I'm presenting an adaptation where you could do this at home. Again, it's a distance learning activity, and all you need are the materials that I've set for you in the chat box. So let's get started. First off, let's think about when it rains, where does the water drain? So I've got a nice image to share with you. So chances are you probably have walked by storm drains before on your daily walk and probably haven't given much thought as to where does the rain drain. The stormwater drain that's in this image really is pretty typical of what we see in most Idaho cities. In Idaho, our stormwater, which is our rainwater or runoff, or it can be melting snow, and it can be excess irrigation water that, you know, we've all seen a sprinkler pretty much pointed at the sidewalk instead of on the lawn, right? So all of that water, as it moves across our impervious surfaces, and impervious means it cannot be passed through. So things like our sidewalks and our streets and parking lots are examples of impervious surfaces. Those surfaces have a lot of different pollutants that build up on them. Everything from our oil and gas drippings from our vehicles, brake pad shavings from every time we brake. It could have litter, dog poop, my favorite, and even fertilizer and pesticides that we might use around the home. That rainwater or stormwater picks up pollution and sends it to the nearest drain. Now, where do those drains go? So in Idaho, most of our stormwater goes to either groundwater or surface water. It does not get treated before it ends up in those water bodies. There are certain cities around our country and around the world that have combined sewer systems, which means stormwater and sewage combine at some point before it enters a treatment plant. That is pretty rare in inland cities, such as all of Idaho. And that's because we don't feed to the ocean. Large cities like San Francisco and even Santa Monica, California, they have combined sewer systems where they are interested in treating that water before it goes out to the ocean. There's many pros and cons to combined sewer systems, but I just want you to know that here in Idaho, we are not combined. Stormwater goes directly to groundwater or surface water, and it's going to go there untreated, bringing anything from the surface to it. So that causes a pretty large pollution problem in certain lakes, streams, and rivers that we have in Idaho. I could go on that topic, but we're going to get started in our activity to better understand how pollution can get from the surface to a water body. So your first task is to draw a maze of pipes. The maze represents our stormwater system of pipes or infrastructure. But it doesn't have to be done in a certain way. Any pattern, you can get creative with this. Just definitely label the start and label your 2 exits. One is river, one is treatment plant. There's a template in your guide as well. Now, if you think about the city you live in, there are hundreds, possibly thousands of storm drains in your city. Boise alone, gosh, has over 100,000 storm drains. They all connect and send storm water to, I think it's 5 different outfalls on the Boise River where I live. So you can imagine just the amount of storm water on a rainy day, definitely influencing the water quality in the Boise River.
And same goes up in Coeur d'Alene. Our storm drains go, we have about something like a dozen or so outfalls into Lake Coeur d'Alene and the Spokane River. And there's a lot of stormwater that goes into swales that percolates down into our aquifer. And our aquifer is the sole source of drinking water for 500,000 people.
For those of you that are done, go ahead and take your wax paper and you're going to tape your wax paper over your maze. So I would just put 1 piece of tape at the top, connecting your wax paper and your white copy paper. And then you want to put the wax paper over the maze. You can kind of see mine. And you also want to try to affix a piece of tape onto the back. So you're really almost gift wrapping your maze. This part was the most challenging for my 5th grader. And so I guess I would emphasize it does not have to be perfectly gift wrapped. You just want that wax paper to stay in place because we are going to be moving water through your maze. And we want that water to stay on top of the wax paper. All right, this is the fun part. You're gonna dip your pinky finger into a cup of water, or you can just go get it wet under a faucet. You really just want to start with a drop of water, and you want to put that drop of water on top of your wax paper right where it says start. You might have a pretty small drop at the start, and that's okay, but the larger drop you have, probably the easier it will be for you. Okay, this drop of water represents the runoff. That is water that's coming off of our streets and parking lots, and it's moving toward a storm drain. So what we're going to do is we're going to help it move through the system of stormwater pipes, which is your maze. And we're going to do this without adding any pollution yet. We just want to test out our stormwater infrastructure, which is our pipes. And we're going to test out your ability to do this with a toothpick. So get your toothpick ready, and I just want you to move that water through your pipe maze. Go ahead and push it to the treatment plant, and we'll represent that this stormwater is just moving to a treatment plant, maybe in one of those major cities like San Francisco, for example. Now, if you're struggling with this with a pointy toothpick like mine, I found it easier to use it on the side. So you might want to push it kind of sideways. Yeah. All right, Taylor agrees. So try pushing it through your maze. You might notice sometimes little droplets get left behind. You can go back with your toothpick and pick those up. That's fine. And push it toward your bigger drop of water. You also might find that your water drop just dissipates, gone. Mine started out really small and mine is gone by now. I didn't even reach the end. So that might represent, in our pipe system, there are leaks, and that does happen in real life. Tree roots can infiltrate our piping and cause openings in those pipes. A lot of times it's right where the joints are, where the pipes meet. Woo! Did anyone have any success in moving their water through their maze? Okay, awesome. So we just simulated stormwater moving through our pipes, and it didn't pick up any pollution along the way, but success was made in the fact that our piping system worked. So now here comes the tough part. You're gonna take any spice or sauce. I brought my curry powder today. And you are going to simulate different stormwater drains that are carrying polluted water into your system. So you want to sprinkle this pollution, maybe some right near the start and some throughout your pipe maze to represent a lot of other inputs of stormwater from different places in the system. I would recommend maybe a minimum of 2 pollution places, but go ahead, if you want to go a little crazy, you can. Okay, we're going to get ready with another drop of water. So go ahead and grab a drop on your finger and drop it on the start. Okay, you do want a pretty big drop of water. Okay, this time we're going to represent that this stormwater has gone across a yard, and in that yard there were 3 German Shepherds. So what kind of pollution do you think it picked up from that yard? And fecal pollution, nice way to say it. Very good. Poop, my favorite word. So we can pretend that that first little drop of pollution you have is dog poop entering our stormwater system. Go ahead and start moving your water through your pipe maze. And as you do so, you might encounter more sources of pollution along the way. So you're going to be trying to push your water to the river this time. And some of you mentioned in the chat box, Kira turned into a clump of cayenne. Yeah, mine actually turned into a clump of curry. So I think what I've learned through this lesson, maybe certain spices that hold water are not going to be the best for this activity. When I tested it, I tried pepper, and pepper seemed to hold its shape and then still keep water flowing. So, oh, nutmeg worked well. That's good to know.
These washable markers are working well. I have some really gross drop of water about to flow into the river here.
Ground time is actually doing pretty good. It's still water, so that's good.
Good. Hopefully we all have one thing in common with our water, and that is that it is no longer a pure drop of water. Can everyone agree that it has now been tainted in some way, either in color or constituency? Good. Okay, now once that water drop has met the river, what does that do to our river?
Mucks it up.
Mucks it up. There you go. Yep, it's bringing that pollution directly to it. And that could be harmful in a lot of ways. That could be harmful to the wildlife and fish that rely on that water source. It could be harmful to people, as Jim said. If this water is going to our groundwater and that's a source of our drinking water, that would be very unfortunate for the people in that community, right? It means we have to increase our treatment, and that can cost money, and sometimes it even can't be done, depending on the type of pollutant that exists in our drinking water systems. So I just want you to think about the impacts of that pollution on our health and on our health of our fishery as well. So we might repeat that activity if we had more time, and then discuss which of ours maybe made it to the river successfully, and how might we prevent some of this pollution from going into that waterway. And so with students, I'll try and share the screen again. I have 3 big ideas that students can do to prevent pollution. Can you guys think of any? So how might we, as a citizen, prevent pollution?
Not littering, so like big stuff can obviously fit down there and get in there and, I don't know, do who knows what.
Excellent. That's my number 1 thing that easily students can do. Never dump anything down the storm drains. And since you guys might be teaching high school students, you know, the reminder that maintaining their vehicles is actually really important. You know, we don't want leaking oil and gas on the roads. So, good. Another one, if they're dog owners, picking up dog poop is actually extremely helpful in keeping our waterways clean. It keeps the E. coli bacteria at low levels in the rivers and surface water bodies. And the third thing that you could do is an action education project, and that is to actually go storm drain marking and put those symbols next to the storm drains that remind people that the storm drains go out to our surface water. So they have programs for that in the Treasure Valley. Then I'd probably end this lesson with some of our community solutions to stormwater pollution, such as permeable pavers, which infiltrate stormwater into a selected layer of gravel and soil that will help to clean the water as it percolates down to our groundwater systems. Swales or bioswales are another thing you'll see in your community, and they're essentially a mix of plants and soil that again help to grab onto certain pollutants and hold them and break them down over time as the cleaner water infiltrates to groundwater. So I'm going to end that activity there in the sake of time, and that is an adaptation to amazing water.